Generally, you guys are supporting the kind of task. Okay, I got one kind of question. Like, we will need how to Athena setup. Okay, to set up in which way that you can use it for read the data from S3. Okay, and they have a data lake setup. So the data must be read from sources. What is the source? It has to read the data from
Uh,
S3,
okay.
right? So in AWS, we have a S3 service where we can store multiple objects. It can be S3 can store the data of the objects like flat files, okay, flat files, and like images. What we are today, you're using the video streaming platforms like Prime Video, all of the videos, kind of even source code artifacts, source code binaries, all of them. I'm not sure what the data you guys are extracting from S3, but they have given a requirement. This data must be extracted or analyzed from Athena.
Sorry for interruption. So it will be like SQL data.
Not SQL data.
Oh,
No,
okay. Oh,
S3 is not a, as I mentioned, it is going to store flat files.
okay. So
Not,
SQL.
yeah, it's not a relational database, okay,
No,
where we store
the
the data in structure.
maybe the files may be in CSV format. I think so.
It can be. It
Uh,
can be a
mm,
CSV, it can be a text file, it can be image, it can be JPEG, it can be any source.
mm,
I'm going to provide a basic example how S3 data can be stored. I'm giving a live example, okay?
mm,
Since you asked the question, in Bangalore, we have a company called Ananda Honda. So what is this company is doing for selling the bikes from the Honda company? This is an authorized dealer, correct?
mm.
Now I'm going to pick the model and select the vehicle. I selected but I connected to my website called anandahonda.com and I like the unicorn bike. So I'm going to get the image details, right click, open image, where they have stored. You see on top,
Oh, it is on Amazon. Okay.
you guys see current on the top, like what is the endpoint we have stored this image?
It is in. I see it
And
is
in
one
the
of the AWS region.
you can see here
Oh,
S3,
yes, three. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
s3.amazon.com. Now you ask the what kind of files it can be. It can be, as I mentioned, the file format would be, it can be anything, but here they use a JPG format. Honda Unicorn Concept.jpg. Okay, so I hope you understand the real-time requirement. AnandaHonda.com is being hosted in Amazon. So they have been hosting all of their metadata from the application side, web application side. Whenever any customer has select the vehicle model, the data is going to be get and populated from Amazon S3. The same kind of scenario for your customer, they asked about, okay, I want to get the data from S3 where we have stored 100 terabyte of the data. That data you would like to analyze from Athena. Athena, before I commit, okay, Athena is like a log and query analysis. So I have stored the flat files like 3 years of data. Let's take example. How many years of data? It's been duration 3 years.
3 years.
3 years of data, I would like to perform analysis. When the data is being created, who created, what was the size, what is the object properties, all of that analysis I need to perform. So we are dealing around some data architecture. I need a query analysis tool that is provided by Athena from AWS side. What is Athena service, guys? Log analysis tool. So there you are going to set up simple steps like I am defining my data stored in S3. This is a source location, and I'm going to set up Athena to perform the log analysis. And there we require some SQL queries. So where you are going to use the SQL query parsing from Athena.
So run SQL queries, right? So it's like
Exactly. It
similar
will
to.
run the SQL query on the Athena service web UI to query the data to your S3 bucket
Okay.
to audit your data. Okay.
Okay.
So this is an example, real-time example that the task they asked you. So now here the concern is why we need to analysis. Why Athena and why not the SQL server? Generic SQL server we have, right? Database instance. Why can't we use these SQL services to query the data from S3? Because I have to perform installation. Am I right? We have to configure a server. On server, we need to install SQL database. Again, we need to take care of license cost. Again, we need to maintain that server, and with a large data query sets if you are processing, the number of CPU, number of amount of RAM and disk space, all of that you need to provision and then can query the data to your S3. It means an infrastructure cost is involved. So Amazon Web Services has introduced the you no need to manage this MySQL server specially to query the analysis. You go and use the platform as a service tool, PAS, platform as a service tool, Athena, to query your data, large sets of data which you have stored in S3. For data lake engineers, no need to set up the SQL server or dedicated database server to query the data on S3. They can go and use the Athena service, overhead of the infrastructure maintenance, infrastructure of provisioning, they no need to do. They can easily, you can use the Athena service to write the SQL, simple SQL query, what the data type you have stored in Amazon S3. You guys are clear?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
we are using S3?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that was one requirement that they provided. You can see Amazon S3 and Athena that you mentioned in the top. Got it?
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we will see what kind of customers are using Athena. Okay. As a practically Athena AWS service, why we use it? As I mentioned clearly, infra guys, no need to set up the SQL server, right? That is a problem we are solving. Amazon Athena is a serverless model. See, the term clearly mentioned serverless interactive query service. What queries you are using? SQL queries. From where you are running the SQL query? From Athena web service. And logging into Athena, start querying the data instantly. You no need to provisioning any server. You just run the query, how much results you will get within a seconds, and pay only for the queries that you run from the Athena. You no need to pay for operating system, license cost, maintenance of the CPU, RAM, infrastructure scaling, storage capacity. No, you need just running a query to data in S3, right? So why you need a server? So we don't want need the server. So simply you can select the Athena and just you run the query. Only pay for how many queries, SQL queries you are running, you have to pay for it. So this is a task they ask you. Athena easy to use. Simply point your data in Amazon S3, define your schema. Now my question is, Amazon S3, what type of data I mentioned to store? Flat
Flat.
files, Excel sheet, PDF, or it can be anything. Now I'm going to take Excel sheet. Okay, my data was stored in Excel. My data was stored in Excel. There is a collection of rows and column, right? There is a rows and column. Yeah. So the Excel data was stored in rows and column. Now I have 100 rows, 100 column. So when I'm writing a query, you should know what data you are requiring, what type of column data. You have to define a schema. A schema is nothing but a structure of for the data. How your data stored in S3 in a structured format. If it is an Excel, you might have some rows and column. If it is an image, you are going to get that directly. It's a single file. If you are going to analyze 100 petabyte of the data of the networking logs, then you might see source IP addresses, destination IP addresses, what is the packet size, packet length, all of the data. So there is some structure of the schema that you stored and then start querying the standard SQL command. So with Athena, there is no need of detailed jobs to prepare for your data analysis. For your data analysis, even you can process, quickly analyze large data sets also easily with Athena. So for Athena is running the query analysis, right? Am I right? So what is a backend database for where exactly the queries can be run practically? It will create a simple database in Amazon Glue. What is the database backend for Amazon Athena? Glue. Amazon Glue. In the Glue, there will be a default database will be created. Athena is out of the box integrated with Amazon Data Catalog, allowing you to create unified metadata repositories for various data crawls. Crawls are nothing but before you analysis, so there is a structure. First, you need to create a crawl for your data sources to discover the schema and process the data, and you need a definitions how your schema is being structured. All of the simple database we are going to set up with Glue. It's a serverless ETL database to process and analyze the large sets of data. It easily you can do with a Glue. What is Glue? You can see here: discover, prepare, and integrate all of your data at any scale. This is an analytic application, right? So the task that they asked you, how to integrate Athena, to configure Athena to extract the data from S3. Now look at this architecture of the Glue. It can be queried to operational databases, data warehouses, big data, ERP systems, or any infrastructure, other applications, even Amazon S3 data lake. So you want to perform the installation of Athena. This is one use case. But customers, you can see what are the customers they are using the Amazon Athena for various data analytics platform. Finra is a financial company. Then Amazon Athena to enable 1500 plus analyst business partners to securely analyze terabyte of the data what the application process. So they are querying all of the data with the large sets with the Amazon Athena. Signing into your account whenever you have free tier already ready, just type to your Athena. So query the data in S3 using SQL. Now I would like to set up the enable Athena. So there is a glue, AWS data glue we are going to use. Choose the database, which means you need to create this backend database. That should be a default, or you can set up depends on your project. Okay, you guys understand?
Yeah, sure. So the data source will be S3 here, right?
Database source by default, as I said, it's a glue. By default, it will take the glue. You can change that, but depends on your the source, what are
So
the you are going to use. Yeah.
most of the times in most of the project, I understand that the source data is from Oracle database. So
Yes.
if that is the case, will they be pushing the data from Oracle to S3 or from Oracle to Glue? What is the high chance?
That pipeline is totally depends on your architecture, existing architecture. Generally, how the day see this is a back who are the guys not aware of the database, please excuse me. I'm going to explain on a high level solution. Okay, don't mind. So this is my SQL Server database. SQL Server database running on Amazon RDS. Amazon RDS. So my question is like I would like to extract the data, okay, and perform some analysis on here. So since it is the SQL Server data, okay, so we have different mechanisms to analyze, process, and transform, load. That is what the ETL tool can define. Am I right? Analyze,
So, Venkat, in most of the
extract,
projects, Venkat, so
extract, extract, transform, and load. This is a ETL process. So I want to perform some data extraction from the source. You mentioned, right? Most of the use cases, the source would be Amazon SQL Server or SQL Server. So we need a ETL tool. That was the, I'm saying that, glue. What is your backend?
so,
Glue. Yep.
so,
Intermediate.
Venkat, sorry for interruption.
Yeah.
Almost all the projects, so most of the pipelines I understand, from my understanding, is ETL only. So most of the pipelines, the raw data is pushed from Oracle to I don't know, to S3 or which to where they're pushing, I don't know. That they do the ETL process, then they push to a some other place from where the BI tools view the reports. This is what happens in most of the pipelines.
Yeah, why we have to, why we, firstly, you need to understand the basic service understanding, and then you can looking into what existing architecture in your customer environment.
Mm.
Okay, so that way you can keep knowledge. Knowledge means like it can be tomorrow a project, they may use different model. Tomorrow it's a B project, they may use different model. But service understanding is not never changing, right?
Mm, mm,
So there you lagged, correct?
yeah.
Not able to understand. Okay, let's focus on the service understanding. So I hope you understand your query, why they are asking Athena to set up such a way. We can use it to read the data from S3 bucket in data lake. They have the data lake platform to extract the data from S3 and perform analysis with a query. So I'm going to show you simple data analysis with Athena. Let me show you one example. I have a VPC. VPC is nothing but a network service. Securely, we can configure our application services, RDS database instances into VPC. Now, this is the address mask where my instances like web servers, application servers, EMR Hadoop clusters, all they're running on inside this networking range. Okay, now you can see flow logs. Generally, networking logs, why we need to collect? Take this use case, guys. Then you will understand why Athena is coming to the picture. So, my architecture in AWS, I have 300 production instances where my web application is being configured, e-commerce website. So I have different VPCs where they have deployed underlying or isolated networking. Isolated networking. We are getting huge traffic from the internet to our VPC, production VPC. Now my question to you, do you need to analyze the logs? Whether unwanted IPs, hacker IPs, unwanted country through you are getting a data, that all logs we need to analyze, right? As part of your company security audit? Yes or
Mm,
no?
actually,
Nick,
it will be blocked automatically, right? I don't know whether we need to
no, no,
analyze that.
blocking I'm not talking about. Allow or deny I'm not talking about, right? So I'm talking about the logs. You need to enable the logs, right, for your network.
Yeah,
So You can enable the networking logs where they are storing, networking logs
You're asking me where they're storing network logs?
in Amazon
Yes.
S3 bucket.
S3 bucket.
Okay.
Now my customer is asking me, I want last 6 months data which you have stored the networking logs in Amazon, one of the production Amazon S3 bucket. There we store the networking logs, network logs. So that logs, you just give me two properties. What is a source and what is a destination and what is the IP address? What is a route or maybe condition, allow or deny, whether it is allowed or denied. Can you see Amazon S3 bucket? We want to extract these data only: source, destination, allow. Only three properties. But if you look at the VPC flow logs, what kind of IP traffic you are going to get? There are a lot of properties in your schema. In your schema, there is a lot of properties. What is a custom format? Version is there, account ID, AWS account ID, interface ID, source address, destination address, source port, destination port. Like this, it will be storing the data. Now, my customer is asking, hey, I want only from S3 bucket that we store the logs, right? I want to extract only source address and destination address and source port. These are the two. Can you extract, guys? Which tool you will use to extract this data from S3?
Athena or
Simple. You know the solution now with the other real-time use case, Athena. Athena can be used to query your S3 bucket data to perform or gather these two data.
okay. So the queried results are stored in Glue. Which,
No, Glue and all not required.
okay.
It will create a default database in Glue where your query results been stored.
Okay. Okay.
Now, out of 7 people who joined in this session, you understand basic
Yes,
okay?
Venkat.
Yes, yes.
This is kind of requirements we used to get, guys. This is a reality. I'm not here to talking about what is S3. S3, you know, as I given an example, like we can store a petabyte of data, like flat files, CSV, videos, all of them, and we can get process the query through Athena. If you want to analysis the large sets of data, this is another example. Now take another some you know the KPMG company, right? Did you heard about the KPMG?
No.
Deloitte, PwC,
Yeah,
EY. Deloitte is like doing advisory.
financial.
Advisory. What they are doing advisory, risk and financial advisory they are doing. So I'm talking about one example here. I designed one payment portal application for my company. Payment portal. Okay. All of UPI. UPI, you know, right? In India,
Yes. Yes.
UPI app can be integrated with my payment portal application. Every bank account can be added securely. Every bank account can be linked to securely. Now we are been promoting to live environment. We are going this week to the live. We used to receive actual end user traffic. We published this application. Now my question, before we authorize with a UPI of India, they are asking certain documents. What document they're asking? Hey, you are going to store all the customer bank accounts, right? So you are storing the bank accounts and secured information. So you are using AWS accounts where S3 or where you store the RDS database, or it may be a NoSQL database. whatever the data sources you use, how do you make sure the data is very safe in public cloud providers? So now Deloitte is coming to the picture. So to perform audit on your company, all the systems are correctly configured as per the regular standardization. So all the payment card industries can be used or must follow PCI and DSS standards. Payment card industry and DSS standard rules, they have to follow regulatory with RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Why we are talking about this nonsense thing? Because our AWS is a cloud provider to host this application. Now Deloitte is asking, hey, have you enabled the logging for your RDS? Have you enabled for your RDS? Now you mentioned the service as well. Relational database service. Are you going to audit what's happening in the RDS? Yes, sir. I enable the audit with a cloud trial. One of these services we are used to audit my accounts databases. We used to create a cloud trial in AWS, one of the service. You look at here, you given on top, cloud trial. Cloud trial is going to be create and audit all of the cloud services activity. Then Deloitte is promoting, yes, you are the payment application is up to the standard and we can certify you audit is successfully completed. There is no risk with your application, whereas end users can use your application. So they will be issue the PCI and DSS certificate. It means you are storing the security logs in CloudTrail, right? How do you analyze the petabyte of the CloudTrail logs? What's happening in your account? Athena. Security audit, Corey. You can do with Athena. All the security audits, extracting the data of security logs, exactly how many rows you want to extract from the CloudTrail events. That data processing can be done with Athena. You want to see the integration? I'll show you. CloudTrail log with Athena. How can we query the logs with Athena? Whatever the logs we are storing, security logs that we stored in CloudTrail, right? CloudTrail is an auditing service. CloudTrail is a service that records all AWS API calls and events that store the data in Amazon S3. Again, the Athena will be using Athena with the CloudTrail logs is a powerful way performing analysis of your AWS service activity, such as source IP addresses, username, and location, which location your accounts are being accessed, all of the data security events. You can still write a query, SQL query to your CloudTrail logs and get the data. You give the analysis of the data into a dashboard for your leaders. For your leaders, after you analysis of the security logs, they can go and see the in the dashboard. This is how you are extracting the data from S3 by using Athena.
So,
these are the real use cases.
So Venkat, the cloud trail logs will be stored in S3, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So still I'm a little bit confused with the glue. Where the glue comes into picture previously.
Yeah, this is a simplified the analysis, right? So
okay.
what is a glue? If you want to, yeah, this is a direct extraction. Am I right? So getting the storage S3 bucket and extracting the data is very easy with a simple query. Now you see the larger enterprises warehousing environment. Okay, so there are multiple vendor application where the data must be reported. Okay, this is the SQL server, and here is S3, and here is NoSQL database. I also have another source that is a different use case. Now I want to extract the data from extract. What the data I extracted, and this data I'm going to give in a column. I'm going to give a glue job. First job I'm going to create. Hey, today we have registered 1,000 customer for my application. That data you extract first. And that data you extract from the SQL Server and process to Amazon S3. That data you have to move to Amazon S3. Once the data is available from S3, there is another application which using the data, how many registrations are happening by your MongoDB. So then you have to load the data from S3 again from MongoDB.
Sorry. Why are you using the MongoDB?
Again, this is kind of application caching purpose to be reported to our web application simply what the records have been registered today.
Okay, so glue is nothing but it just cleans the data.
Not cleaning the data. Your understanding is wrong here. So here for my web application, I have 100 debits are happened from my credit card. For example, I'm saying that what kind of transactions are being done, we will be having the data in a SQL Server. Am I right?
Okay.
Now, from which location or which user, which bank account, that kind of data you want to be formatted and processed by a different application to a admin user, for example, who is maintaining that entire transactions. He wants the data, but he is not direct access to the SQL Server. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a glue job, a batch job kind of thing to extract the data, how many debits are happened and push it to S3 in the format of CSV. That CSV detail, which is a non-structured data, you should be processed from one more database called MongoDB and report it to your admin application. Your admin app is connecting to MongoDB, extracting the data first from SQL Server to S3, S3 to your actual admin portal application. So here, what we are using, yeah.
Sorry. So here here also the glue is also more or less running as a query, right? SQL query, right?
Yes, exactly. Running a query, but it has different sources to extract and transform and loading the data from different sources.
So what is the Athena also is doing the same query, right? So
And why Athena is doing? Athena is a simple log analysis.
Okay.
It's doing a log analysis. See, here we are not doing analysis, correct?
Okay.
We are processing, extracting the data from the source to another source, and then we are processing the data to a reporting to another database.
Okay.
It's kind of moving the data from one place to another place. You need a job, and for the job, you need to set up instructions. What is a source? What is a targeted platform, and all. Now, yeah, let me complete here. So this SQL Server is connecting to a, for example, trading application. You know the banking trading application, right? Exactly. Now your trading users must see the data. What is today results, for example. But actual data we are storing here. Why we need to extract the data from two different other sources?
So we are actually the data is only stored in SQL Server, right? From SQL Server, it's moved to S3.
No. This is where the real-time data, what exactly trading users wants the data, that data only we are extracting from a original source. Not all the data. Not all the structure like you how many records you have, only 100 records. No, specific data we are extracting from the source original RDS database and process that format to PDF to Amazon S3. That PDF format will be available from my trading application where they can download. We are
Okay.
not processing all the data in your data pipeline. So you need to structure and understand what kind of modeling you are going to implement. Okay.
Okay.
Hope you understand.
Yeah.
Now I can explain the use cases, so you'll understand. For the customers, Glue customers. So what they are doing here, Fin Axel. After experimenting with the different ETL frameworks, just now we discussed the use case.
Mm.
Extract, transform, load the data, finally different. After implementing the ETL frameworks, we ended up using the Amazon Glue to power day-to-day ETL process. Okay, so their applications are processing batch jobs. At easy point and click, we are able to define our ETL jobs in a no time with complicated server provisioning. They're not provisioning the servers to process the data. Like before we have Informatica. Informatica, you know, right? What
Yeah.
Informatica is being
Yeah.
for?
Yeah.
ETL.
Previously we heard. Yeah.
Huh,
Previously it was one of the source. It was used
exactly.
as.
So this Informatica is going to be like extraction from different sources. It will transform that, meaning what kind of format you want to report your trading report, that it will be transformed here, and then finally it will load. Okay, so this is a ETL process. Right now, if you want to use the Informatica tool, you need to install Informatica on a server. Right now, we are not doing that because we have a Glue service
Mm.
to run our jobs easily from a cloud based. The ability to ETL to from our data, our Redshift warehouse. What is the database they are using? Redshift,
Redshift.
Amazon Redshift. The warehouse is just use case of example with a Glue. Transform data to our BA tools. They have transformed the data in the remote reports like with the BA tools. Tableau, ClickView, some different reporting tools are there, right? For leadership teams,
Mm.
they are maybe end user. They can get the reports in pie chart, bar chart, or any line item, or what the data format they want. They integrated. You can see here. Glue allows us to you pay only computing power, the job when run, what kind of instructions you given in your job, on the runtime of the job, how many minutes it has run, you have to pay for it. You don't need to pay for every service usage. Okay,
Mm.
so there are customer blogs and success stories, how they extracted the data. Please, I'm requesting go and look into the details. I'm not the data engineering guy to write the jobs and the Java code Python module, but please go and look into it. Okay, these videos. Then clinical data, how they are going to report it to Amazon Hadoop to analyze the data. So they are using Glue jobs. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, just go and look in. There are a lot of things. OLX group. What is a OLS group? And OLS group is, you know, old cross links and all of them, right?
Yeah.
Expedia and these are all entity Docomo, Happy Fresh. Why they are Amazon Prime Air? How they Autodesk is a one good company. They have different customer success stories with a Glue. Just go and look into the data extraction and how it will report it to the different application. This is an architecture you can see. Yeah. First, it is going to execution time. From Amazon Redshift, it is extracting the data and which is in CSV format, Paraquet format. Different data formats they are taking. Okay, and finally the data scanned is 135 GB, paraquat size is 2 GB, and now you are going to show the structure of the data. You are using some simple SQL queries. You have to transform the data in such a way, right? How they will be downloading the reports in CSV, PDF, or any other formats. So you need to write the SQL query structure. Okay.
Okay.
Just look into the real-time use case. Definitely, you will understand what exactly we are doing with a glue, okay, and processing the data analytic with your Hadoop jobs, Hadoop
Yeah.
cluster. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm done for the demo. I think I have only this much time. I have to move to another work. Um, so Shiva, I'm done from my end. You can get the feedback. Thanks, Raja, for sharing the question to everybody get understand what reality we have to learn something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, Venkat.
yeah.